Why are you here? You're here to outwork. You're here to outtrain. You're here to win.
Here with Yianni Diakomihalis. Yianni, thanks for taking the time to weigh in with me after Nationals.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
And you had a really pretty spectacular NCAA championships. First of all, have you ever been there before?
Eating, obviously, and it's so cool when you're just watching and you're like, oh man, that's gonna be me someday, and then
So
yeah, I've been there to watch, and I've always thought about being there.
So you broke up a little bit. So you have been there in person before this year?
Mm-hmm. I was at the one in Madison Square Garden.
Okay.
And the one in St. Louis last year.
Okay. So did it give you a mental kind of way to prepare for? It's not like a normal tournament. It's not like a normal match. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. Do you think that being there beforehand helped you mentally just be ready for being on the floor?
Yeah, it definitely. You just know what you're getting yourself into. You know what I mean? Like, you've been in the crowd, so you know how loud it gets. You've seen all the stages, and it's just like it's just like you know what you're getting into. You know what I mean? It's a really crazy atmosphere, and it's definitely something where if you're not comfortable with that, it's something you gotta be aware of.
Now, I'm just gonna say it, and you don't have to acknowledge all of it, but as a freshman wrestling through a pretty serious knee injury, I've never seen anything more mentally tough in my life. I mean, if you were a basketball player, there would have been an ambulance and you would have been wheeled out and you'd be on high pain meds and, we'd never see you again. But you went on to wrestle against the returning national champion and All-Americans. Are you the kind of kid that acknowledges goals along the way, or do you have to just push them out of your brain to stay hungry?
For me, you always set a goal greater than I can achieve. Yeah. So my goal is just to someday win the Olympics. Maybe more than once.
Okay.
And it's one of those things where if I do ever win the Olympics, it's gonna be at the end of my career, and that'll be getting towards the end, and then you just focus on trying to win another one. But by setting your goals so it's crazy. 6 people every 4 years win the gold medal in wrestling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's for freestyle. And it's one of those things where you set your goals so high that things like national tournament are just stepping stones. So it's you're happy about it, but it's just another step in the process, you know what I mean?
Gotcha. When you visualize the tournament, I mean, you had a really tough weight class. Do you look at your bracket beforehand, or do you just think,
of course.
You do? Okay. So
you gotta know your wrestler. For me, I'm really big on, knowing what guys are going to do going into the match. I think it's a huge advantage to, know what your guy does and have a game plan. I think it's super important. So, when the brackets came out early, and I was definitely, preparing for each match, thinking about how I'm going to wrestle the guys, thinking about what they do, you know what I mean? So this way, when you get in a situation, it's not foreign to you.
Gotcha. Are you scouting Zanetta in the opening round?
I mean, yeah, but so Zanetta and Gil were the first 2 guys I wrestled.
Yep.
I had wrestled them already.
Yep.
So we didn't have to watch a lot of we didn't have to game plan really. It was all right, hey, you wrestled him in Vegas, and then Gil I literally just wrestled the last turn before that at Eastern.
Yeah.
And it's you wrestling Zanetta. He's gonna shoot lefty sweep. He's gonna club you. Try and keep you off him a little bit. So just make sure you stay attacking and stay on your offense and get your shots going.
So are you looking at Heil before the tournament begins?
Oh yeah, because thinking my path to the finals, I knew it was gonna be Zanetta and Gil, then probably Heil, then Ironman, and then Meredith or McKenna.
Yep.
So Meredith, you've already wrestled. If it's McKenna, we'll worry about that when the situation comes.
Yeah.
You've already wrestled Ironman. You've already wrestled Gil. You've already wrestled Zanetta. So, Heil is the guy you haven't wrestled. Let's talk about that and think about what he's going to do and get ready to make those adjustments.
So you get through Zanetta and Gil. What what are you thinking after those matches? Are you just like, it's just one step in the process?
Yep. It was like, all right, here are the ones that we've been training for all year.
Right.
Like, obviously, Zedetta and Gil were super tough. I think they both went 2-2 or maybe 3-2. Great, like, super tough guys. But, like, you get to the high match and you're like, all right, like, here are the ones that decide, like, who wins national titles. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you get returning national champ. You you hurt yourself in the middle of that match?
Like, literally in the first minute.
First minute. Does doubt creep? I mean, you're wrestling a returning national champ. You know you've hurt yourself. Does doubt creep in?
Oh, I mean, it wasn't doubt as much as it was just kind of like you're worrying. You're like, oh, like, what's going on with my knee? Like how am I going to score? It's just kind of like you start playing out the scenarios. You're like, all right, like what's going through my head? It's like, okay, so I'm down 3-0, and my right leg, I can't put a ton of weight on it. So how else can I score?
Yeah,
I can hit a throw by. Get my honor, hit a throw by, right? Fast forward, it's 5-4, we're on our feet again. It's like, all right, I clubbed him. I knew he didn't bite on my fake so I could get to the shot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, when are you going to need that shot? Oh, I need it now. Okay. Club, bam. High cross, and then you scored. So it's just kind of like, no matter what's going on, you're just thinking about the situation and how you're going to win, how you're going to score, really.
So most guys don't have such a cerebral approach, but to get to the high level, you need to have that kind of game plan. Obviously, you're going to Cornell, no school for dummies. But when did your wrestling IQ really kick in?
I feel like it's always been something me and my dad have worked on. So even when I was in high school, before I got to Cornell, my dad coached me my whole life. And one thing we were really big on was no matter what situation you're in, you know how to wrestle it. So it was always super important to me to understand every position I was in because that was how I wrestled. I wasn't strong. I wasn't fast. I wasn't a great athlete. I just wrestled. So I was super dependent on every situation I was in, being familiar with it and having it not be my first time balling out there. And if it is my first time balling out there, we go back home and we work on that position until I'm good there. And then you go back and now you're working on these positions all the time. So maybe it wasn't on game planning. Position, I think, was really a really important part of my training, like just my whole life.
Right. I love that, the position. But the thing, right, you maintain in really good positions. You can't lose if you don't break position, but you're down, and with your knee injury, not knowing what's going on, and being so composed and poised and not letting the pressure. I mean, were you feeling pressure? I mean, I don't feel like you ever have any mental pressure on you watching you. I just see confidence.
Yeah, it's like there's no need to feel pressure. Like all it does is make the situation more stressful and more you don't need pressure. Like obviously you want to win. It burns inside of you. Otherwise you wouldn't have gotten this far. You know what I mean? So it's like when you're out there and you're in a high pressure situation, high stress situation, you stay calm and you're like, all right, what do I need to do to score? What do I need to do to put this back in my favor?
Right.
So like the high match, I'm down 3-0. I'm like, all right, you gotta get a takedown, right? Let's cut into that lead a little bit. You're down 5-4. You're like, all right, you need a takedown to win. This is what you've been training for. This is the kind of situations you've been putting yourself in all year. Get to the Iron match. It's like, all right, you're in overtime. Like,
okay.
Same thing. You get to the Meredith match. Like, all right, you're down by 1. It's just all those situations that you've always trained and practiced in. Like, you just gotta believe that when the situation comes, you're ready. And when the situation comes, you gotta be confident in what you've been doing.
So after the Heil match, you win. Takedown at the end was slide by, right? I mean, looked like you couldn't have scripted it better as a wrestler. You walk off literally. I was screaming my head off just watching. But so you get the takedown, you win. What do you think? And what's the first thing that happens? You have someone looking at your knee to see what the extent of the injury is?
So I just came up to the mic and I was like, hey, like this is, when I just ran over and hugged him, I'm like, hey, my knee hurts pretty bad. And he's like, all right, we're going to take you to training room. Just don't say anything until we know what's going on. And, our trainer's looking at me and he's like, yeah, you're all right. Nothing too bad. And I'm like, all right, we'll tape it up. And it swelled up a little bit, so we put ice on it and then, tape it up. You go back out there, And then, like, he checked me again, like, the day of the finals. So this is Saturday morning.
After the Ironman match.
After the Ironman match. And he was, like, pulling on it like this.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, wow. Like, that got worse. And, because I guess he must have pulled on it on Friday. And was like, oh, like, not that bad, you know? And then same thing. And he was like, oh, wow.
A lot more movement.
And, I'm like, what? I don't care what it is. Just don't tell me. I don't want to know.
Okay. Did he not tell you that?
No.
He did.
He's like, well, like, it might be something. I'm like, don't tell me. Just tell me it's my meniscus. I don't want to hear it. I'm wrestling no matter what. You're not telling me I'm not wrestling, so just don't tell me what's going on. He's like, okay, that's fine.
Just going back to the Ironman match, you lost to him early in the season. Now, you were winning right up to the end. Did any doubt? I'm always curious about how guys keep their heads together. So, at 100%, you know it's a competitive match, and you probably should have won the first one. Do you have any more doubt that comes into your head in the semifinals, thinking, "Geez, my knee's not 100%"?
No, it's just like the way Mike explained it to me. It's like, this is the situation you're in. You know, you're wrestling Ironman. It's the national semifinals. It's not like you're gonna skip this and come back later. You're in the national semifinals. You're wrestling Ironman. Your knee hurts. That's it. We're just gonna deal with it. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, it is.
Yeah.
That was it. So, yeah, I mean, my knee hurt. We wrapped it up, so I knew it was going to be fine. Yeah, when facing adversity, you can't let it overwhelm you. You just like, okay, this is my situation. Let's deal with it.
Again, I love it, and they're again another tight match. You get the win, which the poise, composure. You're in the finals. You think it's a meniscus because you're telling yourself it's a meniscus. I mean, you clearly don't look as fluid on your feet, but you're kind of hiding it. You could have worn. I mean, guys wear a lot bigger brace than you were wearing out there. What's the the prep going into the finals?
So a lot of people have asked me about the brace thing. Like, we just didn't want to make a big deal out of it. You know what I mean? Because, like, it's not like it was killing me. It hurt. I had some, like, instability or whatever, but it was fine. Once we taped it up, I was just like, that was it. You tape it up, you take some Advil and stuff so that your knee doesn't bother you, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. I had to get on the bike for a while, like, get it loose. Like, I definitely had to warm up a lot longer and, like, take more of an effort to make my body loosen.
Yeah.
But, you do what you got to do, and if that's the situation, that's the situation.
Again, in the finals, Cradle, seconds to go for the win, freshman national champion. I mean, when I watch you, and I've not just this year, but I feel like in previous years when you were in high school, I just feel like when you want to turn it on, you can. Is that how you feel about yourself?
I just think I have a good variety of offense, and that in those high pressure situations, I think I perform well.
Mm-hmm.
And the down by one situation.
Yeah.
I've worked on forever. I always play the down by one game.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, down by one, go get one. You got 30 seconds, go get one. You got a minute, go get it. You know what I mean? So it's like, you get in those situations in matches, and you've done it your whole life. So it's like nothing new to you.
Totally.
I don't want to say like, I'm this or I'm that. It's just something I've practiced for so long that when you're in that situation, it's not foreign.
Tell me a little bit. So you've prepared for it. Does your belief come from just the mental preparation, or is it the practice room, or is it a combination of other things?
I think it's a combination of doing it in practice and just like some self-confidence for sure, and confidence that comes from my coaches. You know what I mean? It's just like, you've been putting in the work, and that they've been pushing you super hard. You've been pushing yourself, really hard. So when you're in that situation, it's like, the other guy's working just as hard, if not less hard than you are. So whatever situation I'm in, I'm just confident. You're like, all right, I've done everything I can do, so I'm just going to lay it out there and see where it gets me.
So you win the national championships. What are your? I mean, I know you're getting interviewed and there's a mob, and But what are your emotions? Do you feel a sense of gratification at that moment?
At first, it was kind of like, I guess, surreal. Like, you don't even, it doesn't even really hit you. At first, you're just like, wow, like, that was crazy. Like, especially the way my match went, I was like, dude, that was nuts. But, like, I would have thought that about any match that I won like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just came over, like, I hugged my coaches, and like, it still hadn't really set in yet. And then just, it was maybe the next day or the day after. You just sit down and you're home now, and you're just like, wow, that was really cool. Like, that was exciting. And it's just like, there's definitely so much satisfaction with it. But at the same time, it's not like, all right, well, I'm good. I got my national title. It's like,
right.
You want more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, that was great. I'm happy with myself. I'm happy with how the weekend went. But, let's start talking about how we can get better.
Right. So, other than being a national champion and wrestling through a tough bracket with an injury, I mean, what is the emotional takeaway for you? I mean, you just feel a little warm and then how to get better, or was there some learning that went through there, like I need to prepare differently, or?
I definitely showed myself that I can handle those adverse situations, which I think was something maybe I struggled with, or at least I thought I struggled with. So it's like you've been training for that situation all year.
Yeah.
And then it's like you didn't get put in the situation once, you were there 3 times.
Okay.
And like I'm just happy that, I now have, so much confidence. Like in those situations I can find a way to score. And the other thing too is that like once we realized that I tore my ACL, it was like, all right, well we gotta change how you wrestle. Like you can't be letting guys all over your legs all the time, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Or at least if you do, you gotta sprawl first. You can't.
Right.
You can't let yourself get so exposed that you start getting hurt all the time. Like you can't have that. You know what I mean? It's gonna cut your career short.
Right.
So I sat down with the coach, like all the coaches, but specifically with Mike too. And he's like, all right, hey, we gotta make some adjustments. You gotta like just little stuff. Fix my positioning, fixing how I get to legs, fixing keeping guys off my legs, how I scramble. Just making adjustments so that my wrestling's cleaner and it's less like scrambling.
Right. It's interesting that you talking about staying out of certain situations. It's one of the number one things I've talked to hundreds of college guys, mostly All-Americans and national champions, who were that later in their career. And the biggest thing they had to learn, the adjustment for them in college, was how to stay out of situations that create the possibility for injury. Just curious. I mean, it hasn't played out yet, but as you think forward, getting through those scrambling positions, which you're insane at, but you also showed that you can wrestle different ways. Do you think it's going to be easy to adjust your style?
I think so, because I think, like I was talking about earlier, I think my specialty is that I can wrestle in a lot of different positions. So I'm never going to be avoiding them. If I'm in that Dean House situation, 10 out of 10 times, I don't care the situation. If I'm in the national quarterfinals and I need to do that to score, then I'll do that to score. I don't care. But you're wrestling, a dual meet in the middle of the year. You can't just you can't be constantly putting, your joints in danger.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you don't have to, then don't do it. But if you have to, you know how to wrestle those positions.
Right.
But it's just like, it's just going through your progression. First you down block, you keep them off your legs, block with your head, then you sprawl.
Yep.
Then, maybe you sit in the corner, then you start like passing and, rubber knee and all that stuff, because it's just about protecting yourself, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, you gotta wrestle. I mean, I'm saying all this, but if the situation arose again and I had to rubber knee out of a takedown because I'm up by 1 in the national quarterfinals, I'll let you rip that thing off if you don't score on me. I don't care.
Yeah.
But, why not just sprawl and take the guy down clean instead of having to scramble out of it and risk, cutting your career shorter.
Totally. So can you tell me, is it a full tear, a partial tear?
It's fully torn, yeah. They have to cut out part of my patella tendon and attach it to the back because it's it's pretty much gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
When is that going to happen?
Tomorrow.
And the recovery from this is a pretty substantial amount of time.
So they said 6 months until I'm full competition, but like I can start drilling at 4 or 5. I can run at 3. Like I have a lot of milestones, so I'm not gonna be like shelved for 6 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just won't be wrestling live.
Right.
I can still, do cardio, like get on the bike, get on the elliptical, drill.
So I know Cornell's got a separate thing as an Ivy League. Do you see yourself sitting out for the fall, or do you see yourself being ready to go?
No, I'll be back just in time for our preseason.
Yeah.
So I'll come back. I won't be in great shape, but I'll be in pretty good shape because I'll be doing a lot of cardio. I'll come back, I'll get through the preseason, and then it's honestly going to be the exact same situation I was in last year with my elbows, where I'm going to be coming off, recovery time. Like, for my elbows, I had to get my plates out. It was like a 3-week recovery, so I did nothing. I wasn't allowed to do anything for 3 weeks. So I got here, pretty out of shape because all the stuff going on with my elbows. Preseason was tough, but you get in shape, and then you keep continuing to get in better shape as the season goes on.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to have to do that again, where I won't be out of shape, but I won't be in the best shape of my life. And, preseason is like an 8-week, I think it's an 8-week preseason, maybe 6 weeks. You take those 6 to 8 weeks to get into the best shape of your life so that when your first match comes, you're ready to go. You're 100%, like nothing ever happened.
Last time I talked to you before EIWAs, we didn't get into this, but so you alluded to your elbows. And I've talked to a lot of wrestlers, MMA fighters. Injury can take people into weird places mentally.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about that recovery?
That was just like a lot of. So I had the initial stuff going on. I had surgery, and then a lot of little things. Like I got like bursitis in my elbow. I had some stuff going on in my tricep, and then I had to get the plates back out. So that was just kind of like an annoying process. But fortunately, now it's all behind me. I just got an X-ray when they did my MRI for my knee, and the gap bones are 100% closed. You're in the exact same situation as if you didn't even have the surgery.
Oh, that's nice. But was there an emotional roller coaster ride for you there, or not?
It was
stay positive.
It was just frustrating because anytime you have an extended forced break on you, it's not what you want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I love practicing and competing and training, so like that got taken away from me, which was frustrating. But it is what it is. You gotta get healthy, otherwise you'll never be the same that you were.
Got it. On a closing on a more interesting or more upbeat note here, you've alluded to your father and working through positions. Can you just tell me the most influential people in your wrestling life?
For wrestling, it's definitely been, my dad, Mike Gray, Vito's dad, Bogar Aruja, the coaches here at Cornell. There's a lot of people, like Sonny Abe used to work with me. I go to Pittsburgh. My high school coach, obviously, being able to be on a high school team. But, like, the big ones for me were my dad and Mike.
Yeah.
My dad's been my coach my whole life. He's done everything for me. If it wasn't for my dad, I wouldn't have gotten to Cornell. I'd be an average, at best, wrestler.
Tell me a little bit about that relationship. Wrestling is kind of a father-son sport, and sometimes the lines get blurred. Tell me a little bit about your dad and your experience.
I mean, he was definitely tough on us, but it was everything he did had a purpose to it. And even if we didn't understand when we were kids, now that I'm older, like I get everything. He was always, super tough on us, always working on new technique, always, trying to make us the best wrestler in the weight class. Even if we weren't the strongest or the fastest or in the best shape, we were always, I think, better wrestlers, like me and my brother.
Uh-huh.
Not always, but that was our thing. Was like we were, like our technique was supposed to be good. You know what I mean? And he gave up a lot for us. Him and my mom traveling everywhere. Like my dad coaching me all the time. It's not even his job. He doesn't get paid for it. He just does it because he cares about us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he sacrifices a lot for me, and just thankful for that. And my mom's got to be tough on my mom, just like living with a bunch of crazy wrestling people, and I'm like cutting weight, and she doesn't get it. But
do you have any sisters, or is it all boys? Any sisters, or is it just all boys?
All boys.
Well, poor lady. Right, it's tough. Two sons and a dad who were obsessed with wrestling.
Yeah, And then, Mike, when I got here, well, I started working with Mike, like, not working with him, but I just got to know him through high school, just through the recruiting process, and just, like, I don't know what it was about him, but I just, like, got along with him really well as soon as I met him. And, now that I've gotten here, he's done so much for me. Like, he's done the same thing, like, just, like, giving a lot of his time and putting a lot of energy into, making me successful. And I'm pretty confident I wouldn't have won a title anywhere else. And I think without Mike, I don't think, well, not that I wouldn't have, but I think Cornell was the best place for me to win.
Yeah.
And I think Mike was a really big, part of that process.
Right. Just closing. So, Mike Gray, your primary recruiter, helps you mentally quite a bit. Wrestling also. I'm sure you. There's other coaches along the way, but can you tell me, are there similarities between your dad and Mike?
Yeah, they're both. It is. It's like Mike understands how to coach people. Like me and Maxine and Shai Tucker and Ben Darmstadt all need to be coached differently. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think he's got a good relationship with my dad, obviously, and he knows how I respond. Yep. So like for example, with me, you can insult me and tell that's what I respond to is negative, not negative reinforcement, but punishment.
Yeah.
Where it's when I do things wrong, tell me that was bad, that was not good.
Right.
You know what I mean? And when I don't have a good practice, you gotta let me know.
Right.
Dude, that was not good. That sucked. If it's terrible, if that was the worst practice you've ever seen, you gotta tell me.
Right.
And I can take it. You know what I mean? It's I'm gonna get all bent out of shape by it. That's just how I respond because that was how my dad coached me. And Mike does the same thing because even if that's not how he coaches everybody, because he knows that's what I respond to best.
Right.
And I think that's just my personality. I just respond to adversity well. Where if I'm in a situation like that, where it's man, I'm not having a good day, and you can chew me out and be like, dude, that was awful. You can't have that. You got to do better. Whatever is wrong, whatever's bothering you, let's figure it out and have it be better. And, for me, that was what I respond to best.
Got it. Hey, I want to thank you for taking the time, and I'll be checking in with you in the next few months, see how recovery's going.
Thank you.